Welcome to Planet MicroCap. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and joining me today is Dominic Wells, founder and CEO of Onfolio Holdings. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is ONFO. Dominic, thank you for joining me today. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on. So this is actually our first time doing an interview together. The company presented recently at our virtual event back in December. So I recommend it was a big deep dive, a whole investor presentation, the whole bit. So I invite everybody to go and check that out as well on our YouTube channel. But for those who may have missed that, can you start us off with a quick overview and history of the company?
Sure, yeah. We are a holding company which buys already profitable online businesses. And then we usually take over the management of those companies. And the aim is to hold them long term, grow them. And in the scenarios where we don't take over the management, then we still buy a controlling interest and augment the management. We've been publicly traded since August 2022. The company was founded in 2018. And yeah, because we're a serial acquirer, one of our main skill sets is we go out, we find these already profitable online businesses where maybe the founder has grown it as far as he or she can, or they just want to take some chips off the table. And then we're a natural buyer because the abilities we have to grow the companies is strong, but also a lot of these businesses are sold at a price of around four times EBITDA. So that's a pretty lucrative price for us to come in at as well.
Absolutely. And what would you say is your core criteria when you're looking for this? Is there any sector in specific that you look at, or do you just look at all opportunities?
We're in terms of sectors, we're pretty agnostic. As I mentioned already, the biggest criteria is that they already are profitable. And so then in terms of size, we like to buy businesses that are around 500K to a couple of $1 million a year profit. And that's because if they're any smaller, there's not really enough meat on the bone for us to do anything with. We often install a new CEO at the company, so need to account for their salary. And then if you start to go larger than that, then that's where the mispricing starts to end, and you have to start to pay a premium for those businesses. So we play in that sweet spot. And then online business is such a broad term and broad world. There's so many different business models as well as sectors, and we're fairly agnostic, but it needs to be a business where there's not too much reliance on like a single thing. So for example, an Amazon FBA business where it just sells products on Amazon, maybe imports them from China, and then Amazon does all the rest. Those businesses there's not really many levers you can pull. It's very competitive, very commoditized. So we would stay away from that. Whereas if it was another business that was an actual brand and it happened to also sell on Amazon, then that's something we would look at. And then we also look at software, we look at courses like education, we have a lot of services and agencies that we do well with. So it's really each individual business, we look at it and say, okay, is this the size we want? Is it profitable? Is it trending in the right direction? Do we feel we can come in and grow it? Or is it one of those businesses that's heavily reliant on the founder, and when the founder leaves, the business doesn't really work anymore? So all of these things we consider.
Absolutely. So love to better understand what makes, this business model that you have for Onfolio unique and different compared to some of your peers, and better understanding the competitive landscape. And, are there a lot of other holding companies that are also looking for specifically just online businesses generating, that are profitable? Let's just give me a little more there.
Yeah, there's a few businesses. I think the size that we're playing in that I referenced earlier, that kind of $500,000 to several million EBITDA, we're probably one of the most well-financed companies playing in that space. It's kind of the sweet spot where it's a little bit too small for private equity, too big for high net worth individuals or just solo buyers. so we have got a little bit of a blue ocean there, but there are other groups buying in the space. And I think the competitive advantage we have is, I think a huge thing is experience, and we're not going to not make any more mistakes, but I think we've made enough mistakes over the years that we've learned, we've kind of developed that muscle. So our ability to find a deal, vet that deal, do due diligence on it. We've got the whole C-suite involved in making acquisition decisions. I think I've seen other companies come in and just kind of indiscriminately buy everything that they can without, I mean, the pace they move, there's no way they're doing proper due diligence. And then there's other companies who maybe have only bought a few businesses, so they're limited in their skill set. And then there's other businesses which focus on a single business model or a single vertical. And in theory, that's good, but a lot of them run into issues because there's not enough deal flow in their vertical. So they're kind of limited by basically the available inventory. Whereas for us, we have a lot of optionality that we can basically consider everything. That doesn't mean we buy everything, but I think, another one of our advantages is simply we have the ability to really just, there's kind of no ceiling on the businesses we can buy. Very good.
And Dominic, real quick, what's your background? How obviously you founded this company. So what were you doing prior?
Well, prior to 2012, I was teaching English in Taiwan. So I graduated in 2006 with a degree in media, and then I went to Asia to teach. And in 2012, I didn't want to do that anymore. So I learned all about internet marketing, how to build businesses online, how to get them profitable and things like that. And I started to build an audience who were interested in seeing what I was doing. So I was basically sharing my results. And eventually I started buying businesses rather than building, because it's just a much more lucrative endeavor. And my audience started to say, well, can you help us to do that? And that was really the inception of Onfolio, where we just worked with individuals to help them buy and grow online businesses. And that scaled pretty quickly, but we realized it made more sense to be a holding company and have investors invest in us rather than own individual businesses. And so, the short answer is I've spent about 10 years in this space, just growing and managing and buying and building and sometimes selling online businesses.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Dominic, to close us out here today, from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now for 2023?
So since the IPO in August, so this is being recorded in March 2023, been about 7 months, and we've really just been focusing on both expanding our infrastructure and our capabilities, but also executing on what we said we would do. So we've been deploying the IPO funds on buying profitable businesses. And so the value drivers for us are to continue to buy online businesses, to raise additional capital that doesn't dilute common shareholders. So basically debt, and then just rinse and repeat. And at some point, if our share price gets to the right price, a lot of people are going to start exercising warrants. And there's 6 million warrants outstanding with a $5 strike price. So that's another $30 million worth of capital that over time will come in, and we can use that to rinse and repeat even more and keep buying businesses. So essentially the key value driver is just us continuing to do what we've been doing so far, and that becomes a flywheel where you get enough profit and retained earnings that you can then put those back into growing and buying more businesses. So it's just rinsing and repeating and scaling the business model.
Very good. Well, Dominic, with that, where can our audience go and find more information about Onfolio?
Onfolio.com is the main website, and investors.onfolio.com is the investor portal. So that would be the best place.
Very good. Well, Dominic, thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe. And I look forward to our next update.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.